I just got here and come around this cute little corner. Tree coming out of the fence. And then in here, it's a little beach themed bathroom, which is pretty cute. It's really windy at the moment. You come around the corner. It's a cute little hidden deck. You look out and there's this view of this entire paddock that goes down to the coast. And it's all sheltered from the weather. And you come in, cute little bed. Little bedside table with my things on it. Suitcase stand. Little lounger. TV. Tourism stuff. DVD player, fridge, my cereal that I brought, my cups that I brought that I didn't need to, snacks, Hedwig, and of course my candles. Wow, that's zoomed in. Oh my gosh. So I'm at Matai Bay at the moment and it is so pretty. And I've been watching this little snorkeler just down the bay. I've just been meditating and eating lunch and it's been so good. Such a beautiful day. Hi everyone, this is ASMR Cozy Toes and I'm currently in a beach in Karikari Peninsula up in the Northland of New Zealand. I live in Auckland, so this is exciting for me to see some more of my country because I haven't seen much of it yet. I drove up here by myself. It took about 4 hours and I spent some nice time in nature today, like what you would have seen previously. So I thought it might be a nice idea to read some Harry Potter to you because, as you know, I'm obsessed with Harry Potter and it's a bit of a random place that I'm up to actually, but I'm currently reading from this book. Again, excuse me for looking at the camera. That's how you can tell that I'm very new at this, but it's still fun. Harry. P-O-T-T-E-R. Harry Potter. And the Goblet of Fire. So, tonight I will be reading from Chapter 10, Mayhem at the Ministry. Mr. Weasley woke them after only a few hours of sleep. He used magic to pack up their tents, and they left the campsite as quickly as possible, passing Mr. Roberts at the door of his cottage. Mr. Roberts had a strange, dazed look about him, and he waved them off with a vague, "Merry Christmas." "He'll be all right," said Mr. Weasley quietly, as they marched off onto the moor. Sometimes when a person's memory is modified, it makes them a bit disorientated for a while, and that was a big thing they had to make him forget. They heard urgent voices as they approached the spot where the portkeys lay, and when they reached it, they found a great number of witches and wizards gathered around Basil, the keeper of the portkeys, all clamouring to get away from the campsite as quickly as possible. Mr. Weasley had a hurried discussion with Basil. They joined the queue and were able to take an old rubber tyre back to Stoat's Head Hill before the sun had really risen. They walked back through the Ottery St. Catchpole towards the Burrow in the dawn light, talking very little because they were so exhausted, and thinking longingly of their breakfast. As they rounded the corner in the lane, and the Burrow came into view, a cry echoed along the damp lane. "Oh, thank goodness, Mrs. Weasley, who had evidently been waiting for them in the front yard, came running towards them, still wearing her bedroom slippers, her face pale and strained, a screwed-up copy of the Daily Prophet clutched in her hand. "Arthur, I've been so worried, so worried." She flung her arms around Mr. Weasley's neck, and the Daily Prophet fell out of her limp hand onto the ground. Looking down, Harry saw the headline, "Scenes of Terror at the Quidditch World Cup," complete with a twinkling black and white photograph of the dark mark over 3 treetops. "You're all right, Mrs. Weasley," muttered distractedly, releasing Mr. Weasley and staring around at them all with red eyes. "You're alive! Oh, boys!" And to everybody's surprise, she seized Fred and George and pulled them both into such a tight hug that their heads banged together. "Ouch, Mum, you're strangling us." "I shouted at you before you left," Mrs. Weasley said, starting to sob. "It's all I've been thinking about. What if you know who had got to you, and the last thing I ever said to you was that you didn't get enough Otabu Alice? Oh, Fred, George." "Come on now, Molly, we're all perfectly okay," said Mr. Weasley soothingly, prizing her off the twins and leading her back towards the house. "Bill," he added in an undertone, "pick up that paper. I want to see what it says." When they were all crammed into the tiny kitchen, and Hermione had made Mrs. Weasley a cup of very strong tea, into which Mr. Weasley insisted on pouring a shot of Ogden's Old Fire Whiskey, Bill handed his father the newspaper. Mr. Weasley scanned the front page while Percy looked over his shoulder. "I knew it," said Mr. Weasley heavily. "Ministry blunders, culprits not approached. Lax security, dark wizards, running unchecked, national disgrace. Who wrote this? Ah, of course, Rita Skeeter." I'm just going to move the candle a bit closer so I can see. It's really hard to see because it's quite dark in here at the moment. I'm using just candlelight. Okay, that's better. "That woman's got it in for the Ministry of Magic," said Percy furiously. "Last week she was saying we're wasting our time quibbling about cauldron thickness when we should be stamping out vampires. As if it wasn't specifically stated in paragraph 12 of the guidelines for the treatment of non-wizard part humans. Do us a favour, Percy," said Bill, yawning, "and shut up." "I mentioned," said Mr. Weasley, his eyes widening behind his glasses as he reached the bottom of the Daily Prophet article. "Where?" spluttered Mrs. Weasley, choking on her tea and whiskey. "If I'd seen that, I'd have known you were alive." "Not by name," said Mr. Weasley. "Listen to this. If the terrified wizards and witches who waited breathlessly for news at the edge of the wood expected reassurance from the Ministry of Magic, they were sadly disappointed. A Ministry official emerged some time after the appearance of the Dark Mark, alleging that nobody had been hurt, but refusing to give any more information. Whether this statement will be enough to quash the rumours that several bodies were removed from the woods an hour later remains to be seen." "Oh, really?" said Mr. Weasley in exasperation, handing the paper to Percy. "Nobody was hurt. What was I supposed to say? Rumours that several bodies were removed from the woods. Well, there certainly will be rumours now she's printed that." He heaved a deep sigh. "Molly, I'm going to have to go into the office. This is going to take some soothing over." "I'll come with you, Father," said Percy importantly. "Mr. Crouch will need all hands on deck, and I can give him my cauldron report them in person. He bustled out of the kitchen. Mrs. Weasley looked most upset. "Arthur, you're supposed to be on holiday. This hasn't got anything to do with your office. Surely they can handle this without you." "I've got to go, Molly," said Mr. Weasley. "I've made things worse. I'll just change into my robes and I'll be off." "Mrs. Weasley," said Harry suddenly, unable to contain himself. "Hedwig hasn't arrived with a letter for me, has he? Has she?" "Hedwig, dear," said Mrs. Weasley distractedly. No, there hasn't been any post at all." Ron and Hermione looked curiously at Harry. With a meaningful look at both of them, he said, "All right if I go and dump my stuff in your room, Ron?" "Yeah, think I will too," said Ron at once. "Hermione?" "Yes," she said quickly, and the three of them marched out of the kitchen and up the stairs. "What's up, Harry?" said Ron, the moment they had closed the door of the attic room behind them. "There's something I have to tell you," Harry said. "On Saturday morning I woke up with my scar hurting again." Ron and Hermione's reactions were almost exactly as Harry had imagined them back in his bedroom in Privet Drive. Hermione gasped and started making suggestions at once, mentioning a number of reference books and everybody from Albus Dumbledore to Madame Pomfrey, the Hogwarts matron. Ron simply looked dumbstruck. "But he wasn't there, was he? You know who? I mean, last time your scar kept hurting. He was at Hogwarts, wasn't he?" "I'm sure he wasn't in Privet Drive," said Harry, "but I was dreaming about him and Peter, you know, Wormtail. I can't remember all of it now, but they were plotting to kill someone." He had teetered for a moment on the verge of saying "me," but couldn't bring himself to make Hermione look any more horrified than she already did. "It was only a dream," said Ron bracingly. "Just a nightmare." "Yeah, but was it, though?" said Harry, turning to look out of the window at the brightening sky. "It's weird, isn't it? My scar hurts, and 3 days later the Death Eaters are on the march, and Voldemort's sign is up in the sky again." "Don't say his name," Ron hissed through her gritted teeth. "And remember what Professor Trelawney said," Harry went on, ignoring Ron, "at the end of last year?" Professor Trelawney was the divination teacher at Hogwarts. Hermione's terrified look vanished as she let out a derisive snort. "Oh, Harry, you aren't going to pay any attention to anything that old fraud says." "You weren't there," said Harry. "You didn't hear her. This time was different, I told you. She went into a trance, a real one, and she said the Dark Lord would rise again, greater and more terrible than ever before. And he'd managed it because his servant was going to go back to him. And that night Wormtail escaped." There was a silence, in which Ron fidgeted absent-mindedly with the hole in his Chudley Cannon's bedspread. "Why were you asking if Hedwig had come, Harry?" Hermione asked. "Are you expecting a letter?" "I told Sirius about my scar," said Harry, shrugging. "I'm waiting for his answer." "Good thinking," said Ron, his expression clearing. "I bet Sirius will know what to do." "I hope he'll get back to me quickly," said Harry. "But we don't know where Sirius is. He could be in Africa or somewhere, couldn't he?" said Hermione reasonably. "Hedwig's not going to manage that journey in a few days." "Yeah, I know," said Harry, but there was a leaden feeling in his stomach as he looked out the window at the Hedwig-free sky. "Come on and have a game of Quidditch in the orchard, Harry," said Ron. "Come on, 3 on 3. Bill and Charlie and Fred and George will play. You can try out the Wronski feint." "Ron," said Hermione, in an "I don't think you're being very sensitive" sort of voice, "Harry doesn't want to play Quidditch right now. He's worried and he's tired. We all need to go to bed." "Yeah, I want to play Quidditch," said Harry suddenly. "Hang on, I'll get my firebolt." Hermione left the room, muttering something which sounded very much like "boys." I'm sorry to cut it short, but I have got a big adventure tomorrow where I'm going all the way up to the north of the North Island, all the way up to Cape Reinga. I just wanted to do a little test of reading to you. Please let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed me reading, and I will endeavour to do the rest of the chapter tomorrow night, as well as maybe one more chapter. And then when I get back home on Thursday, I will be wanting to make a video over the weekend for you guys. From then I should come up with a rough idea of how regularly I can realistically put out videos, so that I can get in a good rhythm and find out what it is that people like listening to. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, and like I said, let me know if you want more content like this. Good night.